One of the announcements that was made at the State of the Union was no men and female sports, something that Democrats should be able to agree on, something that Democrats should be able to do. This is Representative Kozlowski, who says the Preservation of Girls Sports Act is genocide. Play cut 86.
And they aren't going to stop being transgender just because you strip them from sports or from housing or from their health care or any other public place that you don't want us to be. And so, members, make no mistake that this is just another version of state-sanctioned bullying and genocide. And I don't say that loudly.
I'm glad no one's engaging in hyperbole. Genocide is the word that they're using. I mean, what a repulsively insulting framing. Because we've seen real genocides over the last 100 years. Obviously, the Holocaust, terrible. What Mao Zedong did to his own people, what Stalin did. And she's comparing no men and female sports as a genocide. That's the state of the Democrat Party, which is an 80-20 issue. It's really a 95-5 issue. I think the polling is wrong. I think when people are actually presented, should men be in female sports, I think there's a 5% minoritarian, lunatic vanguard, and the rest of the country wants nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with this. And I guess it's fine because we're crushing the Democrats on this issue. We are running circles around them on every core one of these issues. I wish the Democrat Party would actually come to the middle on some of this stuff. I mean, it would be harder for us politically, but better for the country. I would rather have what's better for the nation than what's just good for the Republican Party. I would rather have the high road of, okay, we can agree. We are not going to have men and female sports. And all of the trans stuff is destroying the base of the Democrat Party. They have a partnership with the trans zealots. They are captured by this sinister and pernicious ideology. And this is a great tape here of Governor Healy talking about how DEI is being rolled back. Play cut 7.
Talk to any CEO, major, Fortune 500 company. They'll tell you that their bottom line, dollar-wise, does better when there's more diversity in the room.
But many of these...
That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's made us stronger.
Many of these companies, though, are ditching their DEI programs.
And I don't know why.
Apparently, we have Kane that's been in the waiting room. I didn't know that. Mr. Kane, dude. How are we doing? I'm sorry to keep you waiting, man. I didn't know that. How are you?
Yeah, no, I figured you didn't know. It was interesting just to listen because I never have time to listen to your show because I'm always stacking. So I enjoy it.
What do you think? Am I doing an okay job?
Yeah, you're doing pretty good, dude. I think you're, if you keep working hard for another 5 years, maybe someone will have heard of you.
Maybe I could make something of myself, right? So
it's unbelievable, Charlie. It's unbelievable what you've done, what you've actually made of yourself. I don't know if I can talk about it, but I want to talk for a minute about how I cannot wait for the Gavin Newsom interview. Cannot wait for that.
So talk about that. It went well. Everyone's laughing because there's now some drama over the release of some of the of what happened there, but we filmed it ourselves. But yes, Kane, tell me about your thoughts on that.
Well, number one, you made the right choice. You and I haven't talked for a week or so. I hadn't really been paying attention to your Twitter, but it just popped up yesterday, the photo of you leaving Gavin's office. So the first thing I noticed of the photo is Gavin Newsom is not accustomed to dealing with people taller than him. So that's the first thing that came to my mind is like, Charlie at 6'5 1/4, he's towering over Gavin Newsom. I like this to begin with. Secondly, I'm glad you did it. Look, we all made fun of Newsom with the launch of the new podcast, but dialogue is important. And one of the things I liked about the most recent event that you guys had was, for example, when you had Cenk up there on stage and you did 20 minutes with Cenk. and sort of bridging the kind of left-wing populism that approaches, the America First agenda. So I think it's a really good thing that you did it, and I can't wait to see it. I'm assuming, I know how you tend to find common ground with people, but at the same time, you don't back down on the important issues. So I'm expecting there to be both of that. I'm expecting there to be some, a couple of segments where there's common ground and you sort of bring Newsom to the middle. And then I'm expecting segments where he just, goes into full-blown denial. But I can't wait to see it, to be honest.
Well, worst case scenario, we have our own iPhone video of it. So we'll see what happens. All that's still being discussed in the moment. So let's talk about the state of the Democrat Party. Kane, they're making our job quite easy right now. Why is that?
I don't know, Charlie. I think it's because the moderate voices get drowned out. It was a literal freak show last night. It wasn't just the fact that they've completely turned their back on America. They couldn't stand once. They couldn't celebrate any of the achievements, despite the fact that they know in polling, for example, in that CBS poll that's out this morning, the ideas that Trump stands for are 25 points more popular than Trump himself. Like almost all of his platforms are in the 70s in approval rating, and Trump himself is in the 50s. So the idea that the Democrat Party can't even find any common ground, can't show that they support. I mean, I remember, let's more or less, this was a State of the Union. So I remember State of the Unions when Republicans would stand up and clap for things that Obama did that they supported. I mean, there used to be a little bit of a sense, a small sense of bipartisan honesty, let's say. To me, it was a freak show. They looked like a freak show. Their signs were freakish. Al Green, that was embarrassing what he did. And it seemed so sort of staged, and then as I throw it back, the last thing, Mark Mitchell was on this morning with Bannon on War Room and just really laying out how, the numbers, for example, in the 18 to 39 voting group, that Trump has 60% approval with that group. So when we look at the overall, Mitchell was pointing out that when we look at the overall approval rating of Trump at sort of 51 to 53 to 55, that it's actually much higher with young people. And he said it's actually above 60% with Hispanics. So I don't know why they're committing party suicide, Charlie, but the most extreme voices, the Jasmine Crockett's, the Sandy from Brooklyn, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, those are still the voices that are being heard, and it is not helping them. And I don't think 2026 is going to be good for them.